Black to play. How would you play? I want you to stop the video right now, folks. Please give yourself at least 5 to 10 minutes.
As you wish, Dr. Khan. I'll give it a go. This is me from the future. I've just done the puzzle, or at least I think I have. I forgot to mention it at the beginning, so I'm mentioning it now, which is now at the beginning. Please pause the video and give this a go yourself. It's way more fun to do it if you give the position a go yourself. All right, this is the position. I have probably spent about 30 seconds looking at this before I realised that this is a perfect opportunity for me to actually give this a go on camera, share my calculation chops. So what have I seen so far? First, I thought rook to e2, threatening checkmate. How can they stop that? Surely that's just the end of the puzzle. But I realise it can't just be the end of the puzzle because it doesn't. His intro was so effusive with praise for this position that it was going to be so great as a learning tool. So okay, it can't be as easy as just checkmate in 2. So I thought they might come over with the rook. That makes sense because no, that's not it. That's not it. Oh, that was it. That's it. Take the rook. And then if I take back, I've won a queen for a rook, but now I get skewered. So, well, not really skewered, but this is very important. It's kind of skewered. It's like, it's pinned, isn't it? It's pinned. I get pinned because I can't now move the queen out of the way. Because if I move the queen out of the way, I get checkmated. That's checkmate. So, rook e2, queen takes e2, queen takes e2, rook e1, queen f3, rook e8, checkmate. So it's not that. And if I want to, I could just give back the material, take the rook. So rook e2, queen takes e2, queen takes c2, rook e1, queen takes e1, rook takes e1, and there's no attack. The attack has completely petered out. So it's not that. I also thought of this, threatening checkmate in 1, but then the pawn can just take our rook and covering, and now white is covering this square. Things to notice in this position: the queen does a good job of minimizing the squares that the white king can go to. So the white king currently has 1 legal move, but in this position, if white were to make that legal move, say if it was white's turn to move, if white were to make that move, I'm trying to use blue for my opponent, then black would have checkmate in 1 here. What else to notice? We are actually attacking white's rook on d1. Our rook is attacked by a pawn. Obviously this is available to minimize, to even reduce further the number of squares that the white king can go to. Okay, so this doesn't work because this uncovers the defense. What if black were to say, okay, you have that rook with check, so that it's a forcing move, they have to respond, they in fact just have to take with this rook. Now, no, because we just get mated again in the same way. Okay. So, what about getting rid of the rook in a different way? What about something like this? Rook to d3. It's not a particularly forcing move, though. I mean, yeah, well, also, it's just a terrible move, because now my queen's attacked. Let's just have a look at what happens if queen takes rook, because it is forcing. And I've been playing a lot of mate in 2 puzzles, so I'm just used to sacrificing my queen for an advantage. So queen takes rook, there's 2 recaptures. If the queen takes back, I don't think there's anything. I can't see anything. We could give it another check, but the queen just takes that as well. What about in the original line here, we don't just stop calculating because we see a checkmate. We move over with the king. It's a very slow move, but it stops the checkmate threat. And then does white have anything to stop this? And then checkmate. I think they do. I think they can just pop up here with the rook. What am I thinking? There is a more direct way, I think. Or at least, okay, this is interesting. There is something in this position. Bishop b7 is a thing as well. I didn't notice that this diagonal is free for the bishop. So there's an ability to block the king's only escape square with bishop h3, but there's also an ability to threaten a checkmate on h1 by putting the bishop on b7. I just took a little bit of time to just look at all the forcing moves, like queen h1 check, king takes, bishop b7 check. If the pawn pushes, the bishop can just take that pawn. The king is forced to go to h2. The rook can jump up to e3, e2, threatening the queen. But I think we need something a bit more. We're down a ridiculous amount of material at this point, so we've just sacrificed our queen. I think we need more than just threatening their queen, because they can just take. So let's not do that. I do like the idea of putting the king in the corner there, though. But maybe not by sacrificing the queen. I can't see that working. I can't figure out how it would work. Let's start with bishop b7, because now the take of this rook isn't a problem, actually, because we can just give a checkmate. Not quite checkmate, because now the f2 square is vacant. Let's calculate this. Bishop b7. Is there any other move apart from just takes the rook? No, because if the king comes over, then this, as mentioned before, is checkmate. We don't even need the bishop at that point. Bishop b7. There's no blocking move. That's not a thing. That's certainly not a thing. So bishop b7. Pawn takes rook on e3. I'm trying to get better at broad calculations. So rather than just going down a particular line, stopping and thinking, okay, what options do we have here? So we have a new position. Let's put it on the board, because otherwise this video is just me talking. So bishop b7, pawn takes. I've set the board up in the wrong in the wrong direction. Oh Lord. Okay. Bishop b7. Pawn takes forced. The king has no legal moves at this point. If I give a check and they're forced to come here, this check seems quite nice because their only move is now here. It's like another completely forced move. But I don't see the follow-up. The king is pretty safe there. I can't come here. My queen is now attacked. If I give this check, I think they only have two moves. They can block it or move their king. If they block it, now there's another piece on that square, so the king can't move there. So if I could magically put my queen on h1 now, that would be checkmate. When before it was just a check. I can't see how to get my queen to h1 though. And if king to f1, we're back in this position with a pawn missing from here. So yeah, I'm struggling at this point. And this is when I don't know what to do. Like, at what point do I question Do I look for a better first move? I find it difficult to do this now. So where is my attention best served? I'm going to give some time. I'm going to give some time in the starting position and try and find any other first moves that have legs. I didn't keep looking at all the forcing moves. I sort of got stuck on this queen move thinking I had something, and then I just went straight back to normal non-sacrificial moves. So what if queen h2 to begin with? It looks worse because it gives the king more options, but it's worth checking it out. Just putting it back on that square, which seems to do just fine. Same idea. So it does. I don't think that works. And then what if keeping the threat on that rook? No, we've got nothing. What if something a bit more slow? So rook to e7, not e8, just because there might be a scenario where my opponent sacrifices or just lines up on the rook, and we can just sacrifice our rook on a non-checking square. Rook e7, hoping to just do the same thing as we were doing before. Now the pawn can't take. If it's threatened, we threaten mate. If this, we win. So this isn't really a threat. And if we do see it on the board at rook e1, then there's no way, I don't think of any way for them to stop it, for them to stop checkmate, because if they come over here, that's mate, because our rook is doing us a good job. So rook e7, first move. Threatening bishop b7 or bishop h3. I can't decide if there's what the difference is, which probably means I've missed something because, well, I may have missed a lot. So I find it hard to know when to stop on one route and to readjust, and then I also find it difficult to find my opponent's best moves. So let's find white's best defensive resource here. I mean, doing something like this means if I did just go bishop b7, they could block. I could take, but then they could just sacrifice the rook, or they'd sacrifice the exchange. And now it's tough for black. There's no attack, or at least it's very, very much more equal. So if they did push the pawn, black could take, but then white could take. This bishop is attacked, so we have to get out of the way or be defended, but then this again. Okay, so that's potentially why h3, bishop h3 works. So they push the pawn, and black says, well, I've still got the chain. I've still got the mate on h2, on g2, unstoppable. Like, you could do that to stop it for a move, but that's not a real move. We go here. Okay, that looks good. So then how do they stop bishop h3? Not by doing this, that doesn't stop it. Not by doing this, that doesn't really do anything either. Just the same thing. There's no escape square for the king, because if the king comes here, then this is actually just mate even faster, or the king has to come back, so there's nothing for them to do. The thing that's making me think this can't be right is because I could just move the rook back to here as well, and these two squares seem just the same to me. And if there's two like, I'm used to in puzzles there being one answer. Like certain puzzle apps have multiple good moves available. I'm gonna if I can't find it, I'm going to stop here and then watch the rest of Dr. Khan's video, but I think this might be the answer. It's so often that I do these things, I think, well, I've finished, brilliant, that's the answer. And then I watch the video or read the explanation, and there's so much more in the position that I didn't see. And it's frustrating to realise that I was blind to a whole section of the position, like a whole world that I was completely missing. But I think I've done a good job. I think that keeping this pawn where it is, it blocks in the king and it stops defensive resources. So I think that's great. I think, and then putting the rook on this square rather than e8, I think is good as well, because this isn't a problem anymore. And if it was on e8, you might think, okay, it's fine because if the rook comes across, we can just take it. But no, because then another rook replaces it, and now again we don't have time to do this because of mate. So I like putting the rook on. Is this a thing? Well, okay, then this square doesn't work because of that pawn move. So you can't just put it on any square. And if now the rook comes back here, well, now the queen gives mate. So it might be rook e7. Strange looking move. Nice for a puzzle. Nice for a video as well. With bishop h3 next. I've spent more than 10 minutes on this. I didn't time it. I probably should have timed it. I'm pretty happy with this. I'm pretty happy with the process I went through. I did get a little bit nervous at one point. I obviously looking... You're watching this now knowing whether or not I got it right. I could easily be completely off the mark, but whether or not I am off the mark, it was interesting to me to think how I felt stuck on this move, bishop b7 first, and then not knowing how far down various branches should I go, when should I like go reasonably deep on a move my opponent makes. It's like when you're looking for something in your house, you've lost your pair of pliers. Can't find your pliers. Where the hell are the pliers? And you're not sure if your sister borrowed them because she's doing up a house. And so that uncertainty means every room you look in, there's a little bit in your mind that's like, maybe they're not even in the house. Maybe this is a completely ridiculous search. It has no basis in reality. The pliers aren't even in the house, potentially. And that uncertainty that your whole endeavour is completely pointless leads you to not really look as deeply and as properly as you could. If you knew the pliers were in the house, if you were certain that they were in the house somewhere, you'd look way more frantically. You'd start upturning sheets and looking under cushions. Why both sheets and cushions? But you'd look much more thoroughly, I think. I find that anyway. And it's like that with these chess puzzles. Like, I'm not even sure if bishop b7 is the right thing. So I sort of feel a bit, I have this sort of weird feeling in my stomach as I'm looking at the position. I'm going to give one more minute just to try and find a more annoying resource for white. What if just queen sacrifices herself? We can't go straight in with bishop h3, but we can just take, and then white covers up and black says, well, I'm still going to play this. So that doesn't work. I really like rook e7. I hope that's the answer. Okay, that's it. That's the end of the video. I'm eager to go and watch the rest and to see how well I did. Please do give Dr. Khan's video a watch. I will link it in the description. This was a fun video to make. I will chat to you all soon. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Enjoy yourself. Be safe in the chess world. Don't hang your pieces. Goodbye.